Right, let's actually do a draft. So I think Reva is better than Xerxes by a smidgen. I think, well, so my tier list goes Fae, Reva, Xerxes. And I think they are quite close because Xerxes, Vitruvian decks like, Vitruvians I think have the most consistent cards. And Reva obviously has the more powerful BBS and killing edges. Yeah, you know what? Let's range some people. Well, that's a start. Do I meme, or unplayable meme? So I've been bitten by Orbo before. Orbo is actually really bad because what he does is he turns all of the cards in your hand that you were going to curve out with into like 7-drops or garbage. Like at best you kind of get some wonky vanillas, like you get a Zukong or something, which is nowhere near as good as the Hailstone Golem it was before. And obviously if you've got any removal spells or anything in your hand, it's kind of bad. I haven't played with Exun in a long time, and I have some nostalgia for this card because I really liked it back in the day. Resign. Yeah. I gotta pick Exun, I guess. I know Orbo's fun, but like he is really bad. Suku, generally no. Mogwai is decent. Bloodbound Mentor is absolutely top tier. Let's pick that. Nice and easy. Suzumabachi. Whenever you cast a spell that's meaning against +1 attack until your next turn. That's kind of okay. Deal 1 damage. Well, we're unlikely to get more than one of these. Never mind draw them, so let's ignore that. 2 mana for 2 damage is... it's not very efficient, but it's fine. Like this card, I mean it kills Veil Hunter, which is generally my gold standard for things. This card is like probably not great. I don't think I've ever played with it. Yeah, we'll pick Crimson Coil. Bad removal is still removal to an extent. War Talon, Mist Dragon Seal, or Fire Spitter. This is actually close. I think Mist Dragon Seal is good if your deck is good. In that, like, it's a very powerful card when you're doing things that it rewards. You know, if you've got backstabs, if you've got big combos, if you're putting a ranged unit to the other side of the map and your opponent doesn't have removal, it's great. And otherwise, it can be, you know, it costs an entire card and that can be bad. So far, I do have 2 of my 3 cards providing card advantage, so I guess the Mist Dragon Seal is looking better. But I don't know which... I think Fire Spitter has a higher floor than Mist Dragon Seal. I know it dies pretty easily, but it's still a ranged unit. I don't know. It's not like we're going to be completely deprived of ranged units, and Mist Dragon Seal provides some fairly unique functionality. Paragon says, Clay pick is Knucklestorm and the next 12 Knucklestorms. Wouldn't that be sweet? What do you reckon is the highest number of Knucklestorms someone's ever drafted? It's probably not more than 2. What are the actual statistical odds of drafting 39 Knucklestorms? Blimey. I have no idea. What's the... I don't know exactly how the draft pick thing works. I don't know if you even can. Like, at some point it will offer you rares. I think it works like Arena. But you could have, like, 20 Knucklestorms, and then, like, your rares could all be... I don't know, Alcuin Law. No, that's an epic. Your rares could be like, I don't know, something that draws a card, and your epics could all be Alcuin Lawmaster, and your legendaries could all be like 8 Gates or Heaven's Eclipse or Alcuin Fugitive. 30 is the maximum. Yeah, that's true. Even then, right, I'm gonna pick this Mist Dragon because I think the card it provides more unique functionality, and that does have some appeal to it. Twin Strike. This card is like devastating when it works, but that's like 8% of the time, and pretty medium otherwise, especially when you can't cast it at all. On the flip side, neither of these is hugely exciting. I guess Frostbone Nog is pretty good. Like a little bit of AoE, a little bit of extra face damage, helps with reach, helps with killing eggs. Yeah, pick a Frostbone Naga. Oh, Sworn Avenger, my boy. Actually, this pack's really good. What do people think of this? This is sick. Probably the best ranged unit in the game. One of the best finishes in the game. And one of the best AoE removal spells in the game. AoE / removal spells. Because it does very well at being an AoE or killing a big thing. Naga is delicious, so many good cards. Yeah, this is working out alright so far. I mean, some of the stuff in this column here is a little questionable, but you know, I think these are all cards with strong plays in them. Naga is love. Yeah, I think I underrate this card. I probably don't pick it often enough. I genuinely don't know. Like, proactive versus reactive is maybe the question here. Spiral, easy choice. To be honest, I'd pick Spiral if it were me. Really? That's very interesting. Like, for me, Spiral is far behind these two. Even though it's still a very, very powerful card. I'm more of a board guy. I would go Sunset. Ranged is slightly worse when you're Reva. I don't even know if I agree with that. I think one of the best Gauntlet decks I've ever had. It wasn't a Reva deck, it was a cast deck. It had 2 Veilhunters and 2 Sworn Avengers. And I played a ranged unit on turn 1 or 2 almost every single game. And then played another one when they killed the first one. Being able to just play ranged units until they run out. Like, I've had a lot of games recently where the game was me and my opponent trading ranged units back and forth. Like, you know, playing them and killing them on both sides. And then whoever stuck the last one won. So I think having a multitude of them is actually an upside. I like the pony because of how hard it is for Songhai to remove big minions. That is a very good point. Sunset. Wow. I'm glad to see that you're all at least as sort of divided as I am, because I think this is a super interesting pick. I guess the Sunset is the more unique effect. As Roxanne mentioned, we only really get Onyx Bear Seal and like Bamboozle and stuff for doing that, and they're all high rarity cards. Whereas, although Sworn Avenger is a top tier ranged unit, we have lots of ranged units that we can get at common, including, because we're Reva, things like Cryptographer. And as Jay pointed out, we do still have access to ranged units, even if we never draft any, which makes it a bit less painful to pass up on the opportunity. So there's not so much of an opportunity cost for it. I'm undivided with myself. I'm picking Spiral. If you'd like to explain why, actually, because you don't have to, but I'm really interested in why people are advocating Spiral. Especially with the draft we have, which, like, I know it's only 5 cards, but we're not really looking aggressive yet. There are other ranged cards you can probably get. Yeah, this is very true. And we obviously have our BBS, so we're not starving for them. In fact, Bloodbound Mentor is arguably another ranged unit. Okay, so I think we can establish Paragon over Sworn Avenger, but I'm really interested in seeing the reasoning behind Spiral. You are famous for your Avenger. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. I do love Sworn Avenger. There's not a ton of cards I would pick over it in an average draft. This is going to be one long YouTube video. It really is. Holy moly. Spiral finishes matches. It does, but so do ranged units, and they do it earlier. The thing with Spiral is that although it's sick when you have 8 mana and they're on 8, most game states are not that. Flashbacks to 1 hour Hasuku pick 1. Goodness me. To be fair, I am finding that, like, the more I draft this format, like, the games are becoming a little samey. You know, there are so many games of Gauntlet where it's like, who stuck a ranged unit? Okay. And those are very hard to turn around. My opponent managed it in that last game, but you know, they had like high HP minions, so it didn't get too much value, and then they had removal for it because it wasn't very big. And they forced me to respect their own ranged unit in the meantime, so that I wasn't just like carefree going off. Ranged units take 2 turns and are liable to be cleared. Spiral cannot be countered. It can be countered by being on 9 health or less than 8 mana. I'll tell you what, we'll go for Sunset Paragon for now. But during the draft, I'll try and keep an eye on for situations where Spiral would have been really good. Because I am genuinely curious. Azahorn Shaman is perfectly fine. Celestial Phantom is okay. It's a good rattlesnake. And we do have a Mist Dragon to do things with it. It's hilariously bad with Sunset Paragon though. Fastest Shaman of my life. I'm genuinely considering the Fortune Shaper. I think Shaman is great, but... No, Shaman is great. What am I talking about? Random survey. Do I have a head voice / falsetto? Yeah. I don't know if I could do it right now on command. But, or if the microphone would like it. But I can... I've been working on singing high, and I do have a reasonable falsetto for when I'm at a Metal Night and the darkness comes on. It's a bit easier to do. So I can sing reasonably. I learned to sing when I was a tween / teenager, which has helped a lot. It helps with like voice projecting, which is good for stuff like this. Because I know the mic is like right in front of me, but if I project my voice, it helps me enunciate more clearly. And if I can sit back and project rather than getting super close to the mic and then I'm breathy and inconsistent. No, I think it's Roxanne. Roxanne has asked, "How do you not know your falsetto?" I think that's interesting. Actually, I actually agree with Nonverb's question. I don't know how many people have really tried it, because it's not something you. I wonder if there's a correlation between like how many people have tried falsetto much and whether they grew up around a time where bands that used it were popular, like male singers using the falsetto, like Earth, Wind and Fire type bands, or The Darkness. I haven't even looked at this pick here. What have we got? Saber Spine Seal, Inner Focus, Ghost Lightning. Oh god, it's garbage. I've never been impressed with Ghost Lightning. Like, when it comes to pings, when you can get pings with a body, which we already have 2 AoE effects, right? We have a Frostbone Naga and a Sunset Paragon, both of which come with bodies, even if Paragon's body is crap. When you can get pings with a body, pings that cost an entire card just look so much less worth it. Ghost Lightning is nice because it can sweep away multiple like Heartseekers, but it's very situational outside of that. Inner Focus will function similarly to Ghost Lightning in a lot of cases because we can Inner Focus a Heartseeker. We don't really have any good Inner Focus targets yet, but it's really early in the draft, so it's hard to tell. Saber Spine is alright because you can just put it on yourself and hit something. It kills like Silver Guard Knight, which is pretty important, but it doesn't kill most 4 and 5 drops that you care about. I mean, I normally do falsetto when I can't reach a note. Maybe I just do it wrong. No, that's fine. But I think I don't know how many people have really tried singing like that, like even reaching notes in general. Like I've spent time working on my range, both low and high, because my range is garbage, and I only recently started doing like clear head voice high singing. Previously, I hadn't really tried it. I was trying to get my range lower because I wanted to be all grown up and badass. And more recently, it's like, well, actually, there's all these upper notes that I'm not using that I can't use, and that sucks. And also being able to like sing Chromio would be great. If we go against Abyssian, Ghost will just be a GG. Kind of. It's good if they have like... It's much better against Abyssian in Constructed than in Gauntlet. Because most of the time in Gauntlet, they're just going to play like normal minions. Seal, I feel like, is an okay ender. That's a good point, actually. It does provide burst as well. Have you guys never strutted while singing Staying Alive by the Bee Gees? Let me tell you, it feels great, and no, I'm not a weirdo. That's exactly the sort of, like, Earth, Wind and Fire, and all these other old, like, funk bands. And new funk bands, like a lot of modern, like I said, Chromio do it as well. I don't actually know what note my lowest note is, because my knowledge of... I've like learned piano and guitar and stuff in the past, but I was never good at pitch or sight reading. And in general, most of that stuff has slid off me. I feel like whichever one of these I pick is just going to get replaced a million times, so I probably don't need to think about it too much. I'll just pick the one that like is the most reliable removal spell. IF can also act as a finisher as well. Really versatile ammo. Yeah, they deal the same amount of damage generally in our deck, don't they? Oh, Bangle. That goes well with Saberspine Seal. So I played against Zohan a little while ago, and they played this, and it was really good, actually. Like, the mobility and flexibility. It was partly like the game was a bit funky, and I think in a lot of cases this won't be good, because you'll be forced to choose between running away or trading, making use of the celerity to give you reach, to be able to reach hard to reach units. At which point, it loses charges very quickly. Silver Tongue Corsair, on the other hand, I've been very impressed with recently. I've like started playing this card, and it is way better than I thought. Because it bucks the usual trend of like 3-drops dying to a 2-drop plus a general hit in like the most obvious and visible way. It still dies to like 2-drop plus ping, but that's great. That's a 2-for-1. I feel like Silver Tongue is the worst card in the game. So it's surprisingly good, actually. Jay says, pretty sure I'd pick Shaper here. How are we on 2-drops? It is a 2-drop. Honestly, I've genuinely been impressed with Corsair recently. Like, it's a really, really good turn 1 play as player 2. Zohan is just freaking good at playing in unusual ways that shouldn't work, I feel like. Yeah. I think I'm quite a conventional player of Duelyst. Like, my strength... I'm very much like a mid-range kind of player. Like, I don't really... I mean, I've spent a lot of time experimenting with weird cards and weird decks, but, like, the game pushes you so hard in the direction of just, like, tempo, board control, trading evenly, pushing face is, like... The thing with Bangle is it is really good for running away. And that's what happened in that game with Zohan. It wasn't so much that, like... I don't know if Zohan just, like, had it in their deck because the pack was garbage or because they're a visionary. It so happened to be really good in that board state where in others it wouldn't be. I mean, mobility is always underrated, but I don't know if it's worth, like, 3 entire mana as well as a card. A 1-1 with Second Wish for 1 card is pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Like, think of how good Sion's Second Wish is. This is hilarious if you can buff it as well. Yeah, I don't know. Silver Tongue or Fortune Shaper. Going for high rarity cards with Songhai isn't necessarily worth it, because they have some real duds. They have some highs as well, obviously, there's Onyx Bear Seals and stuff, but let's pick the Silver Tongue. We'll see how well she does for us this time. Oh god, speaking of duds. I mean, this is the only one that, like, will do anything at all. So let's pick it. I go for Fortune Boy just for the 2-drop. I think if we were a little later in the draft and I was more worried, I would have done that. I think it's a really close pick. I don't care about rarity though, just their in-faction 2-drops are rubbish. Okay, that's a strong argument. Okay, so here we have Hamseeker versus Sivrel. And Night Watcher, I guess, is also pretty good. I love Hamseeker, and we have a Mist Dragon Seal, so I'm just slamming this. Why do you like Hamon so much? 'Cause it's huge. It's really big. That's it. That's the simple answer. It's so big for its stats. You just thud it in the middle of the table. It doesn't die to Dispel. It doesn't die to small removal. It hits like a ton of bricks. Like, Hamon is the only card in the game in Gauntlet that I can think of where you can play it on turn 2 and then with a little effort kill your opponent on turn 3 or 4. Just with that card and like some buffs. Or hitting them. You know, it deals 24 damage in 3 turns by itself. And that's pretty disgusting. But the fact that it's like... So, Storm Metal Golem is kind of... It's quite a good card because once you have it in play, like, your opponent has to just deal with this huge body. It dies to this, but sometimes Paragon's an epic. Like, they don't always have Paragon, you know? Hamon is Storm Metal, but for 1 less mana, which makes it much better. Easiest feel of my life? Absolutely. Hamon loves the spell. Hamon does indeed love the spell. Draw an artifact. Well, that's probably not happening. Your general gains +1 attack. After a friendly minion with backstab attacks, it gets bigger. We have no backstabs yet. And artifacts go badly with Hamon and Saberspine Seal to an extent. And Frostbone Naga, which kind of just leaves us with this, which is fine because Kindling's pretty great. I used to like him because I thought it damaged the enemy general. Oh my goodness. Hamon's really good. She's oh goodness. What is this jank? So Envy Bear, I mean, that's a big body. Like, this bear is thick. And that has some value to it. And to be honest, the positional thing is probably pretty good. Like, it's good defensively. It's good at clearing body blockers. What it's not great for is, like, you hit your opponent and then you can't hit them again. That seems like a huge downside. So I'm not sure. Might be worth testing. Or was kindling during testing. Nervous laughter. Did it get... What did it used to do? I don't remember. Dagona is kind of good, to be fair. It's super expensive, but like it does eat something, literally, on the way down. And if they don't have removal for it, that thing's gone forever. It might just be better than like generic body Hydrax and Envy Bear that nerfs my own aggro. Hey Yoshi Games, how's it going? Let's pick the Dagona, we'll see how that works out. This deck is not really going well. Ooh, now we're talking. Tuskbore, Penumbrax, and Storm Sister Alcyone. Penumbrax is really good, I think. It might be a little slow for this. Whereas Tuskbore is a great 2-drop that contests mana tiles, especially as player 1. Eats Heartseekers, eats eggs, is annoying, kills people. Kindling is why so many Songhai cards ended up being overcosted garbage because they tested it at 2 mana. Except it also buffed the attack of non-Arcanists. I don't know if I agree that like the majority of Songhai cards are overcosted garbage. Like, when you think about how many cards they've had that have been nerfed over time and how careful they've had to tread because of the cards they do have pushed. Why is there no one who worked on Duelyst part of the Duelyst streaming community? There's a couple of devs that hang out in like the tournament community. They don't stream, but they play still. Riverath and Sibon. Riverath, however you actually pronounce his name. Yeah, I think the boar is the pick there. This is awkward because we got our 2 niche things from earlier. This End of Focus isn't really looking better. It's pretty good with Kindling. Unless we have this out. It does non-go with our first Sword of a Crane. Reactivates Tuskbore, I guess. Which could do something. I think I might just pick the clunky draw spell. We don't have a ton of card advantage. Earlier on, we picked up Mentor and Exune early. But they're both... Mentor will draw a card. And Exune is super slow. So it might be worth having some more card draw to make up for like this stuff. Still picking a focus, to be honest. Maybe alright, I probably should have. It is bad card draw. I don't really rate Inner Focus in this deck. Like, if it was just 1 mana deal 3 to a minion, I'd be all over it. But it's not. It's 1 mana if you have a suitable minion in play, deal 3 to something, and also apply damage to your own minion, which is so much worse. And we don't have any combos with it yet. If we had like a Gorehorn or something, it starts to look better. If we had like a more powerful range unit, like a Key Beholder or a Fire Spitter, it also looks better. But we just have Veil Hunter and Heartseekers, and that's not worth a card. Onyx, yeah. I like Torth and Draft. Venom Torth's fine. I don't like 3/3s for 3. except for this one. Because they die really easily. So I think I'll just pick the Onyx. High Hand, as a Herald, a Moo. Easiest as a Herald ever. Elk Owl. And some spells that don't do anything. Cool. No. No. Fine. It's a body. Finally! A good card. Oh, here we go. Bit of the old Arrow Whistler. Don't mind if I do. Picking this over the generic 6-drop. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. So we have another ranged unit, which we now have 2 cards that can buff its attack, plus a killing edge. The Saber Spine Seal, which I guess it will carry reasonably well. We also have a good 2-drop that heals, and a slightly worse 2-drop that heals more. Why are we getting so much garbage? Honestly, the draft giveth and the draft taketh away. It's just Karmic Backlash for that amazing Arjun deck that I managed to punt away the 12 win of. Mystic Easy. You do like your mana curve, don't you, Jay? To be fair, we are getting towards the point in the draft where we need to care a lot about the curve. And I only have 4 twos so far. And this is a lot less good if you can't consistently play it on turn 2. So I think I'll go with Jay here. Let's play the Healing Mystic. Second Killing Edge, easy. Ace. Oh my god. Right, we're finally picking Inner Focus. Now I'm very glad I didn't pick any of the previous ones. It looks a lot better now. Like, since we passed on the previous Inner Focuses, we've actually gotten some Killing Edges, and we've got an Arrow Whistler. And that just stacks up a lot better. Like, with this in play, Heartseeker Inner Focus is 4 range damage, and that's kind of good. Piercing Mantis, Drybone Golem, Bloodshard Golem. Look at all this garbage. Well, I don't think we can afford to play another 7. Because this deck is like... I guess this deck is kind of late gamey, right? We have a fair amount of removal. We have a little healing. But we don't really have enough of any of that. We don't really have enough mid-game. I don't know what this deck is doing, to be honest. Probably just hoping to high roll people with Hamon and Killing Edge. Which probably means we focus on curve. This card is just garbage because it dies to a general hit. So I think I will pick the bad 3-drop over the bad 2-drop. Golem. I mean, there are 2 golems here, Jay. Just take the 10-10. I mean, I would, but like, look at this. Look at this. I don't think I can afford 2 7-drops. Not like 2 generic 7-drops. If there's a Pandora, picking it. But I think we got to pick this Bloodshard. I don't think either of these cards will do us a ton of favors. Maybe Jay is right. Like, we just got to hope to draw the reasonable curve and have the good late game. Mantis on left side makes your opponent think. Yeah, it makes my opponent think they can ignore it. At least for a little while. I think if we had more 3s, I'd pick the Drybone, but we only have 3 of them. So, oh, I don't know, this card is so bad. Screw it. We'll just hope we draw well. And then we have the bombs to finish up. Ooh, Hank Heart though. That's more like it. Several is okay, but I think Hank Heart is quite a lot stronger, even though he costs more. I'd rather chance it than get stuck playing Blood on curve, or God forbid off curve. Yeah, that was my reasoning in the end as well. I think you're right. Oh no, this is good. This is interesting. So we have Assassination Protocol, which, unlike Inner Focus, actually fits our deck because we have like all these massive things. And a tempo turn of Protocol after a big boy is, or goal in Hamon's sake, case is pretty strong. It's also really good with Exune. Really, really good with Exune. And of course, our various ranged units. And even Kindling, it's like not too bad. We have Thunder Bomb, which is amazing. Good burst, good AoE. It's fine to just trade it for a 3-drop or a 2-drop or a ranged unit or whatever. And then a ranged unit, one of the better ones. Hand card is another card that makes me think of you. Oh, thank you. I have played a lot of hand cards for some reason. I think hand card was the first card that put me onto like, hey, 4-drop ranged units are actually still fine. Raging J says I'd still pick bomb every time. Interesting. You think it's that much better? I think this pick is very close. Especially as Widowmaker has synergy. We have the inner focus. We have Mist Dragon Seal. We have 2 killing edges. We have Arrow Whistler. This crap. Thunderbomb IMO, no direct damage in deck. That's a good point. Yeah, we don't have a ton of burst, do we? We have the Naga. We have Tusk Boar. We have inner focus. And none of that is much. So maybe a little extra out of hand damage is worth it. You have no good removal for early problem minions not named OBS. Well, we have Saberspine Seal for stuff that's in the front. We have a Crimson Coil. We have a Tusk Boar. We do have the OBS if necessary. We have Frostbone Naga. And then up the curve we have a Sunset Paragon. So we're not hugely lacking in removal. And we also have some powerful, like, we can always take the, like, I'm going to jam my ranged units and you have to react strategy, right? Like, we could have Veil Hunter into Widowmaker into BBS and they're screwed. My bad, I blanked on Coil. That's okay, it's not a great card. And having a card that does 1 more damage is not nothing. Tend to close over when I see that card. It is very bad, generally speaking. Although, it is pretty sweet if you have Ghoulie in your deck. You can get people with that. We, against AoE, yeah, I guess Sunset Paragon doesn't kill eggs. But Tusk Boar is really good against eggs. Really, really good. As is Veil Hunter. I don't know. I think all of these picks are pretty justifiable. Thunderbomb is the best at playing from behind, at least. And we do already have ways to kill big minions. So we don't need this with our 8/8s. Alcohol is pretty much Widowmaker with Rush. Alcohol is often Widowmaker or equivalent. This card is very good. It's done a lot of work for me recently. Alright, go on. Let's pick the Thunderbomb. Ooh. Healing. Jank? Yeah. Guess we'll just pick the 4 wins. It's not amazing. None of this is amazing. It is an Arcanist, which is good for our Kindling. It's our only other Arcanist, I think. And it goes well with Bloodbound Mentor, which gives us extra spells. So I guess that's fine. Now I'm picking Widowmaker. Hell yeah. Alright. So, how did this pile work out? We managed to avoid getting too many, like, what I would call little cards, despite the fact that the draft really tried. Like, little cards are like cards where you play them alongside something else, and they might help you a bit. So, Inner Focus, Protocol, Mana Vortex, you know, cards that aren't usually worth a card, but they're, like, efficient. Good and constructed, but usually bad in draft. I tend to avoid them. 2 Killing Edge, 1,000 wins. I wish. I mean, double Killing Edge is like a pretty easy way to win a game, to be fair. So you're not far off. You missed the 2-3 Mantis Era. Oh, that would have been great. I'd have picked so many of them if it was a 2-3. I mean, I guess I'm kind of glad it isn't, but like, I don't know. I've never played with that card, I think. I must have been forced to pick it at some point. I don't know. It's like not even good off Cron when you get it for free. Like, it's not even good.